Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Ray George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, this is Thanksgiving week. As you know, it's the biggest holiday of the year. It's kind of like you have the last two holidays at the end of the year, and that's Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I spend it with my family, and and we get to eat and chow down. And I hope you and yours will have a great Thanksgiving. So anyway, today's topic is about creating more shows for women's bodybuilding. Over the weekend, there was a couple of shows that were going on, but most of them did not have women's body. There was one show, the North American, I believe it was, where a lady who I did an interview with, the lovely Miss Leanna George, she performed in. She was the only female bodybuilder in the amateurs. I mean, and that was just wow. I mean, out of all the competitors, she was the only female bodybuilder. I mean, you ask yourself, what's going on? There's not enough women who want to compete now. And the thing is that, as the women's bodybuilding, it takes a lot of it takes a lot of a backhand interest. Some women, they, as you go, are not prepared to go to the next level. Now, right here, we have my brother Jared, the hand of the king, he just came in. The hand of the emperor just came in. What's up, bro?
Yo, how's it going?
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, we were talking about, as you know, there was some shows that were going on over the weekend. In many of the shows, last week there was a couple of shows, and none of them, other than the Romanian, most of the shows that were done here in the States did not have women's bodybuilder attached to it. There's one show that was done, which was the NPC Northwestern Championships, where they did have a women's bodybuilder. They had one female bodybuilder that was Leanna George. And I follow Miss George, and her and Sarah Fuster. I did an interview with them a while back. But the thing is, now that the season's about to come to the end, might as well say, you have one more show coming a couple of weeks where you will have women's bodybuilder on the stage, and that is the Toronto Pro. The big problem is that because of still some restriction issues, I don't know. We're going to see. Are we going to see mostly local competitors, or is any other competitors one opportunity? Hey, you know what? I want to get my legal qualifications, so I'm going to try to do a show. But the thing is, I think I know some women live in Canada said that most people, if you're not unless you have a real reason to be in Canada, then I don't think Canada still let you in.
Yeah. So I think we'll see a lot of regulars and a lot of natives there.
Yeah, I know one lady who I follow, Tana Hugh. She's getting ready. She's 2 weeks away. Another lady who I follow, I think Melina Perron. She might be doing the show, and I'm trying to think of some others. Mona. There's no point for her doing the show because the fact is Mona already qualified. Mona Porcella, she already qualified for Olympia.
Actually, no, she didn't. See, remember, you're going by the old point qualification system. This is the here. You can bring it up. Here, I'll just post this in the.
So you're not going by the top
chat.
5?
We're going by the top 3 now.
Oh.
The IFBB. Here, let me post the link. We can go over the standings.
So it's no longer like the top 5 competitors like it was the last time and this year.
Pretty much a while. Yeah. Yeah, they changed it for every division except men's bodybuilding, I think. Could be horribly wrong on that one, but they did change the rules up. So those who qualified is Andrea Shaw, Hella Trevino, Margie Martin, and Nadia
Caposoro.
Yes, that word.
Yeah, because Nadia, she just won the what's the face, the Romanian Muscle Fest, and Mona has 12 points because she's number 4. She took 4th place. 11 points for Irene because she took 5th. There's Baranka Jevikovic. She took 2nd at the Romanian show. They said that they gave Anastasia 5 points because she's overseas and they're giving 5 points just for the hell of it.
Well, that's because of there's a specific reason.
Yeah,
People that couldn't attend because of COVID but wanted to attend. That's why.
Yeah. And Myla Ash, she got 5 points. She took 3rd that show. 4 points is Anastasia Kovaleva, because she took 4th that show. And Tina Flex, she's got 3 points. So now so it's more likely we're going to see Mona competing at the Toronto Pro.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that should be interesting.
Yeah, so because no longer, folks, that no longer is it for women's bodybuilding, the top 5 competitors are automatically in for next year's. You have to earn the top 3 who won. Like I said, the big thing is that we all know there's a possibility that a couple of these, like Helen Trevino and Margie Martin, might retire. I'm not certain when, but they might compete one more try. But as long as Andrew stay on the top, I don't think anybody's going to beat anytime soon.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is my man Marcus Bell coming through, smashing that like. Thank you, Marcus Bell, for coming through, hitting that like, brother. I appreciate that. But yeah, now as you know, the big thing is, should Wings of Strength try to expand on more shows? For because there's been like a bunch of shows. I know I just recently saw that Natalia Abraham Conejo just won a show. I think was it over the weekend. They did a show last week around the same time we're doing the Romania Muscle Fest, and she already has a qualification, and I think the rest of the women who just compete doesn't compete for points. And but with bodybuilding, the ladies are right now, they have nothing to do after the Olympia unless you do the Romanian Muscle Fest like Mila did. A lot of the women now are just sitting, just waiting to the next shows. So the question is, should the Rising Phoenix try to put some more shows on the calendar? As what it does this was that you have to increase the size number of the women competing at that show, at the Olympia. I would say, if you look at over at the physique division, they have at least over 20 head of women, and usually some thing where we're competing in 2 or 3 different shows. Even if they do earn their qualification for the Olympia, like I said, Natalia Abraham, who took 2nd at this year's Olympia, she has competed in 3 shows since the Olympia, and that was the Region Sports Fest, another show called the Atlantic, I think was the Mid Atlantic show, and another show which is. Let me look it up real quick. I think I saw it somewhere. It was just over the weekend, and she just competed in that show. Let me see. Let me find it. And I think because it take long for her to compete. Let's see. It's here we go. Let me see and see. It was another show, no more actor. See, like he did the Legion Sports Fest, and the Atlantic Coast Pro, and her last show. I don't have it on here yet, but it was another show they just had not long ago, and she's already has won 2 shows, but she's qualified to compete at the Olympia. So, what do you think about if Wings of Strength, what other places would they should they add themselves to another show, or should somebody start another show or something like that?
There's plenty of shows that they could be added to here and around the globe that you know could take on female bodybuilding. Um, like I'm thinking of right now. I know, I know this year, the New York Pro does not have female bodybuilding this year, and I'm like, well,
Oh,
why?
they dropped it for next year's.
Yes,
What the hell?
yeah,
That is some shit. I mean, had it last year and this year, and now I'm gonna drop it for next year's.
yeah. According to the recent schedule, I mean, it
What
could
the?
change, but
That is some bull. You bring it back, and also physique. Then you go take it. Once again, folks, if you just heard my man Jarrett, who is the hand of the king, who gives me information, or hand of the emperor, hand of the emperor, he gives me information, and he just informed me once again, Bear Francis, which is the New York Pro, is Bear Francis' show, her and her husband Steve. They has once again walked quietly behind female bodybuilding and stabbed them in the heart. And I'm not sure if you say it might change, but if this is true, I'm gonna reach out to some people and see if they heard about it. If it's true, I know a couple people I can reach out to, and if they can give me an answer. And I said that the Indy Pro is going to have female bodybuilding next year, but
yeah,
now you're going to have, well, I think it's like an equivalent change now because the loss of the New York Pro, now you have the Indy Pro, but still, you know, that is why, for one thing, that's why we need to, see if somebody can, try to get together more shows for women's bodybuilding. I mean, like I said, there was a show, they just have another Texas show, but it was mostly, I think, was women's physique, figure, bikini, and men's physique or something like that. It was a small show. They also, Texas is becoming a mecca for bodybuilding. They have a bunch of bodybuilding shows in Texas, and not since the Texas Pro back in I think 2015 they had female bodybuilding. So there was a Texas Pro which was done right after the Tampa Bay show. So the great question is, what do you think about doing a show in Texas?
yeah, I'm okay with that. Um, I also want a show, like an actual show, not just a master's show, um, in Pennsylvania too, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think if you do a show like that, it has to be in some place like, if not Philly or Pittsburgh, or someplace like Hershey, where they can call it the Pennsylvania show or something like that. Because or you get somebody like Teresa Vasic, who's from Pennsylvania. And she now Teresa's going to be coming back to women's bodybuilding. You
Yeah,
know, she could reach out to women's strength. They can use her as a try to promote a pro am show. You know, and put her name to it, or if she can put the money behind it. Like I said, one lady who told me about this show, she and her sponsors put together the show for the it's coming next year, and that could be something that she could do. Especially for because it's so few places for women in amateur divisions. Like I said, the show they had a while back was I think it was Pittsburgh. Was it Pittsburgh? No, it was Maryland. And one lady who I knew, she said she was going to do it, but then she changed her mind. And there was only, I think, one lady who competed in. I think it was two women who competed in the bodybuilding division. One lady competed in the two of the masters divisions, and there was two that shared. One was a lady named Gina Hall, and Gina Hall back in the day she competed for quite a long time. And around about the '90s, she retired to come back, and she competed in Masters and Masters over 60. And and you remember the years ago, NPC started to cut ties from overseas bodybuilding. They used to have a show. They used to have a show. Used to about in the '90s. It was like a real popular show. It was a lot of bodybuilders came out of that show. They earned their pro card. But the last few years, I think not as many, other than maybe something like the Romanian Muscle Fest, where they have a pro am. They have women's bodybuilding attached to it. They just saw a new female bodybuilder who just earned her pro card. I ain't gonna pronounce the name, but she's a big Russian woman, and it's been like I think it's the third Russian since the Romanian Muscle Fest that earned their pro card at that show. If you count Natalia uh,
Close enough.
Kosanova, Anastasia Kovalova, and this other chick.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely Romania is definitely a good place for European female bodybuilders to compete at, um, and especially for pro card wise. I don't know, really know like what the situation is there for the amateur divisions. Um, but um, I know in Britain, I think there was something where basically you used to be able to compete at like something called like the British Champions or something like that. And then you get your pro card, but then they removed that, and then there was like a qualification where you have to compete at like national European level to get it. You can't, do it in Britain anymore, and that was one of the reasons why we had such a drought on British female bodybuilders for a while. And yeah, we should definitely talk um, maybe next time about amateur female bodybuilding and the NPC and all that. There's a lot of shows that have happened this year, a lot of pro cards going out, and I know it's a sport that, I mean, I know the amateurs we don't really pay that much attention to, but they're also still important for up and coming. And it doesn't even have to be next year or anything. They could be years in the future.
Hmm. Well, I did have a connection with a lady who recently just got a pro card. That is Liz Curtis, and Liz is an amateur. She got a pro card at the USA's this summer, and see with amateurs there's so many, and it's hard just to it's like amateurs so many. It's hard to pick, and until they earn their pro card, you really don't really notice them. But there's a couple. There's one lady. Her name is kind of skipping for a minute. She is from Spain. She competed at the Puerto Rico Pro this summer, and she's amazing. I think she has a great physique. I did a video about her as a comparison videos, and she competed also at the Romanian Muscle Fest, and she's kind of a pat side power pack, amazing muscle, great development. I think Salvia. I think it was Salvia. What's her name? I can't remember the name. It's Salvia. And I forgot the last name, but she looks amazing. I mean, it's just if she can get the right show and her pro card. And I remember I was watching an interview with a female bodybuilder from, or actually a physique competitor from Great Britain, Gemma Lancaster. She said that she was wanting to do the Arnold UK show, but we all know what Arnold has done. All Arnold shows have just pretty much dropped physique from its lineup, you know, and it was it what some people want two women who earned their pro card from in women's bodybuilding from Arnold Classic show was Lisa Cross and Vijay Sanchez, and that was 2013 when they dropped when EPC dropped interest in women bodybuilding over in Europe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
hmm And we all know it's because of Arnold. He, even though I'm a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, you still love his movies, but he when he comes out to Fear Body, but he's an asshole. That's why I've been
Yeah,
hearing from a lot of the ladies. He I think some of the physique competitors are really pissed about it because but he'll keep figure, and figure's no more different from fewer bodybuilding. It's just they're like it's like lightweight version of it. Fitness is more. Women not as muscular, still have a little, retain a bit of femininity, and we all know where he's got bikini and wellness. But as we were going back talking about more shows, and hearing the story about how the New York Pro is now dropping women's bodybuilding, you know, would it be idea if somebody like Iris Kyle step up because Iris lives in Vegas and maybe do a show around Vegas or maybe in the Nevada area, and because she's Miss Olympia, I think she should have her own show. And I know I think she did have a bad taste with Wings of Strength when back in 2016 when they denied the opportunity to compete at the Rising Phoenix, but she was going to come back in 2020 last year, but then she got sick and she had to take a step back. But you think the idea of Iris Kyle has her own show because she does a lot of stuff overseas because her partner Hideki, they're trying to promote more shows for women over there. Mostly they were focused on physique because the fact is that it's not a lot of women bodybuilding in Asia, around by Japan and China, but a growing number of women in physique, but some of them can transition to bodybuilding.
yeah, it is a good um gateway pipeline, if you will, to female bodybuilding. Sometimes, I know she's got Iris has two shows in Japan. Neither of them have female bodybuilding, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is from KL. Ain't no angel. What up, my FBB fan comrades? Hey, KL, appreciate y'all for coming through, brother. Drop that like, share, comment, like, subscribe. As you know, over the weekend I hit 602 subscribers. I appreciate all of y'all for supporting me and my channel. It's still a small growing channel, and me and Jared, we're doing our best to try to promote, support women in the sport of bodybuilding, and we appreciate you, KL, and all the others who do come by and like and comment on our channel. But yeah, the Irish thing is a possibility right there. 'Cause, there's been some ladies who've done shows. One time, I even reached out to on social media to Yaxenia Orkeen and asked if she ever think about doing her own show. She said no because she just started her own gym. But I think that'd be a good person also. Yaxini, she lives in Florida, around Miami. As you know, Miami is a mecca. Florida's a mecca for bodybuilding. Like California, because of Venice Beach, Muscle Beach, and all that. And a lot of bodybuilders live in Florida. Especially around Tampa, Orlando, Miami. This it's a big growing community there. Like Texas is a growing community for bodybuilders. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, if somebody say, "Hey, Yaxini," being that you're for Miss Olympia, just like Linda and like Iris, would she consider creating her own show and doing it around Miami area?
I think that would be a great idea. Um, I think the problem is sometimes is always the usual suspect, the M word, money,
Yeah,
money, money, money.
yeah. And it's hard to get sponsors because generally most sponsors don't want to put good behind the show. But what she has to do, she has to get the men on board. Most definitely, you got the guys because you bring the guys in, the sponsors will follow them. It's not like with something like the as with the Rise of Phoenix / Arizona Pro, which is a complete ladies show, and it's supported by Wings of Strength. But something like this, if Yaxini does, he has to make it. I would say one thing, got to make it a pro am because the amateurs pay to compete, where the pros don't pay to compete that much. So that's the way to make some money off of that. And also, if you can find sponsors who were interested, supporting, you have to probably local sponsors, apparel companies, people who want to back something like that, especially if Keen's name is behind it.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know, and there's, like I said again, like some shows that could add men's bodybuilding. There was like I said, they had a show in San Antonio where it was a Tim Gardner show. Tim Gardner, he works with Jake Wood and Wings of Strength. They could have put field bodybuilding into the lineup. If somebody, like one thing I remember where one of they says that if you have the money and you can get the promoters, you can create some show. Like what I would love to do is, if I had the money and get the promoters like that, I would love to do a show here in North Carolina. Now, people say, I'm not gonna go to Charlotte or Raleigh. Those are two big cities. I want to go to a city where the venue is good. It's cheaper. Remember I was watching this episode. It's a show I used to watch, and he brought it back a while back. Was Dinner Impossible, Robert Irvine, and they were did an episode where they were in Asheville, North Carolina, and Asheville is a big food trucks town. So I would do so like in Asheville. I will make it a 2 day event. I'll make it I'll make it a pro am, though with some masters, because yeah, I like masters. I think there's some impressive women and men who compete in that division, in that class. Not division, is a class that that need to get attention. 2 days. The first I start off with the amateurs, then had the masters, and then finish off with the pros.
Yeah. I think that would be a
Hmm.
great kind of. I would basically do a very similar one on you know men's, women's, figure, physique. Um, I would have it a 3 day weekend, Friday to Saturday, amateurs first, and have men's and women's bodybuilding. And I would set it actually. I was choosing a place in Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
I think Harrisburg would actually work pretty good.
Yeah, Harrisburg probably good. Because you think about if you go to somebody like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, the cost of of location is going to be it's going to be really going to be high. If you go someplace like a smaller city, but it's a known city. Yeah, everybody heard of Harrisburg. If you're ever from Pennsylvania, I heard of Harrisburg. You know, and if that's the one thing you can find a cheap venue, save you some money on that. Like I would do, like I said, I would have generally like this. When I break it down to the divisions, it would be men's open, men's 212, men's physique, men's classic physique. Then you break it down with the women, it'd be women's open, women's physique, figure, wellness, and bikini. I'm not going to have fitness because that's going to take too much. Take a lot of time. So because women have to do the bikini part, they have to do the routine. So I might just cut that out.
Now, I would say a lot of these sports we don't really need um,
Mhm.
figure, physique, women's bodybuilding. Like at a certain point, it's like after that, it's like you lose you lose me on the plot. I think Harrisburg works good because it's in the middle of the state, and I've been there. It's like a small, it's a small city kind of thing. It's a city. You feel like you're in a city, but you're not feeling like you're in a huge city. You know what I'm saying?
It's it's a good sized town, but it's not too busy compared to a city level, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the area that I live in. right next to where I live, Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Also sometimes called Drowning Town, Pennsylvania, whenever it floods. Because I live in the Delaware Valley Basin, so
It sounds like the town that's next to where I said Dylan. Dylan, it all it takes is half a drop in the road floor because it's raining today right now. And me and a friend, we went out. She had to do some business. She asked me if I can drive her over to Dylan. Dylan just hop, skip, jump where I live at, and and just you're going through puddles and stuff like that. You gotta be careful you driving. But yeah, that's why I said that's why I choose Asheville because it's a known town. It's known. It's not too big. It's not too busy. It's probably a lot of competitors can find a place to stay at where it's reasonable, and you that's why also you can do more shows in the South because the cost of travel isn't as much. It doesn't cost much when you find you want to find a motel to stay in. Um, Also, it's a little, like I said, it's a little slower, more laid back, down here compared to if you go to someplace like New York or Chicago. That's why they done, even though, they did Chicago Pro in Atlanta the last couple of years, but Atlanta's still a busy town, but the cost is not as if they did it someplace else. And that's why they done Atlanta. That's why Chicago and Atlanta instead of maybe doing it someplace else, or like how they did the New York Pro in in if they did it Orlando also they did Orlando, so it's the cost is a lot cheaper.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It's usually like the mid-sized cities that are usually good. Yeah, the area that I live in Downingtown is called a borough. It's one of those old-timey English words. It's place place I grew up in was one of the three original counties of William Penn. It was set up back in the 1800s, I think. I know that there's like a little log cabin in the center of Downingtown that was like built in 1701 or something. It's like, um, like borough basically means small city, like, and that's kind of what it is. It's literally like a small city with a very tiny urban center in it.
Like in New York State, New York City, you have the five boroughs like Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem, Manhattan, I think Staten Island counts that, or is it I'm trying to remember. No, Staten Island, that's Staten Island by itself.
It is Staten Island is like
Okay.
part of New
Yeah,
York.
five. Yeah, it's five boroughs. Yeah.
Yes.
We're getting education here, folks. Not just we learn about bodybuilding, but we learn about territory and areas. As you know, Pennsylvania is one of the 13 colonies that when America started.
Yes. It was also the most important one too. So it was the reason why it was even allowed to happen. But also another
Yeah,
conversation right there.
yeah, it's the center of the revolution. It's supposed to be, I remember.
Yes.
But it's just it would be a good idea if like me and you, people like you and I, myself, K. Al, we would love if we could afford it. We would love to put on a show. I know we'll probably say we just want women, but we have to bring in the men, and we have to bring in divisions like wellness and bikini because you want to get in. Excuse me, the sponsors. The sponsors will come if you bring the men in, and you come if you bring in the bikini and wellness girls because the fact is they fit the narrative of what they want to go with. More feminine looking division is very popular, and and what it does is the money they get from it, well, you can use it for the other divisions too.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, so you got to put in your money. This is one thing I was like, I'm planning on doing this is this the last Sunday of this month. I'm gonna plan to do another Sunday discussion where we will talk about how the IFBB is not doing enough per se as as a brand for the athletes. How one thing is like we know we had to pass on some professional bodybuilders in just this year alone. A lot of people have died. Some professionals, some amateurs, and how the IFBB and NPC are not doing enough. We will have a discussion. I will have some guests. I'm hoping to have some guests. We talk about what needs to be did, what needs to be done, what needs to be said. One thing is about most of the thing is like you said. The thing is the M word, and how money should be fairly used. As an IV pro, you have to pay your a fee for your pro card. And that's the thing is, where does that money go? Just paying the fee. That's like I think with some competitors, like it's like 300, maybe to $300. So that $300, I mean,
I think it was like $100 or something. Last I looked up, but it could be horribly wrong on that one.
Well, some it ranges, I think, from 250 to 300, depending. I mean, one person 250 for their pro card, somebody say it's 300. But it's just what does that money really do? Just buying a name, or do they take that money and put it to something? Like shit, I think I know $300 is not a lot, but when I used to work my job, when I had health and life insurance on my job, they take out of my check, and then my job takes and pays the rest because you get left health and life insurance on your own. That's about a couple $100 together.
Yeah.
And your job is supposed to pay the rest. So something like that. I was thinking like the IVB should think about hey, if I'm paying like a couple $100 in that card, you should use that money and put towards something like I can use later on. Something like a pension, something like I know it's $300. Depending on how long you're competing, you may not compete no more than 4 or 5 years, and then you're gone. But if you're in there, if you're still competing for at least, like I said, with insurance, you have to really at least have it for 2 years before it really starts showing some real money. So if something happens after 2 years, it really pays over your funeral or something like that. Because that's why I learned when dealing with my mom and stuff like that. But I want to talk about this, and how the IFBB, NPC, how they are taking, and not giving back. So anyway, what else you want to think about while we talk about the shows? Like I said, more shows, overseas shows. As there's some shows they're not per se connected to winter strength other than the Romanian Muscle Fest. You have the Portugal Pro. You have the Europa Championships. You have a couple others. I think those are the only two I could think of that are not per se winter strength adjusted shows. There are some shows. There used to be a show called The Galaxy a few years ago, but they don't have it. And I think I remember somebody saying some other shows, but they're not. I would say bringing I think like I said, the only ones that really are saying that have women bodybuilding competing is the Portugal, the Europe Championships, and the Romania Muscle Fest. So you think they should try to extend shows for women overseas?
100%.
Like I think one thing. Yeah, I think one thing, especially around, I think some places like Britain, France. Also, there's a growing number of bodybuilders around the South Pacific. Especially around countries like coming up from like India, Thailand. There's a lady by the name of Abby Jimenez. Now she competes in physique, and I think she's from the Philippines. But from what I've seen her, she's getting large. She is getting huge, and I think she might possibly, because I reached out to her and she think we start doing the shows, but she's in the Philippines. There are restrictions in the Philippines, not a lot of traveling. They can't do anything. So I say 2022 or 2023, and she's just getting huge. And this would be a great somebody to bring on into a show. I mean, if they have picked up a couple of Asian bodybuilders for the Wings of Strength Ambassador program. I forgot the one chick's name. She was physique, but she switched to women's bodybuilding. I think she might be doing the Toronto Pro because she lives in Canada. Also Helen Davis and I think there was another. I forgot.
Um, talking about you talking about again? Like we're talking about female bodybuilders from Asia.
Well, from like around the South Pacific, yeah, Asia, quite a number, most good number of bodybuilders are really more is more physique a little bit more, but there's some women who can probably switch. This lady I've seen, she competed some shows this summer. Yoon Kim, she,
Yes.
yeah, she competed at the New York Pro, and she took third place at that show. Then her last couple of shows she hadn't done too well. She competed at Tampa, and I think another show. I think she also competed at Chicago, I believe, and she looks pretty impressive. I think she might. If she puts on a little size, she switch and put in an application for ambassadorship. There's a good chance she might because she's from North. She's from North Korea. She's from South Korea. She's from South Korea, and I think she would make it because I talked about her before on here, and I think she would probably make a great female bodybuilder. I mean, she has some great qualities about it.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. Shame she couldn't compete this year. Um, do you think we'll see her compete next year?
Well, like I said, she competed a couple shows this year. Maybe it's all depending you know, if she feels like she wants to take some time, make some improvements, you know, and you know, because I'm showing this picture real quick. This is from her last show she competed in, and that was I think she competed at the Tampa Bay, and that was some time ago. And from the looks of her, she looks pretty impressive. I think she would make a good female bodybuilder if she decides to switch. Here you go. And I think she has some, she looks impressive. What do you think? I think she took 16th at she tied for 16th at the Tampa Bay show. And if you look at her, I mean, look at her quads, her body looks pretty good. I mean, she's a bit small, but if you look at her compared to somebody like um, Bronca Novakovic, who just switched from women's physique to bodybuilder, to Michaela Aycock, to a couple other women who
Yeah.
switched, she could compete as a bodybuilder. And I think she should make that switch. Just maybe tweak a few things. I always say if she can try it this year, she might try it next year. Even she might try it the year after that. 2023.
Yeah.
hmm So, so yeah. So if we have nothing else to talk about, if you have anything you want to say while you're here,
Yeah, I got well, I think next time definitely we can talk about maybe amateur shows.
yeah,
We can talk about like notables with that. Um, we still got shows coming up with Vancouver and Toronto, so that should be good.
yeah. That's going to be the I think the week after next because it says 2 more weeks. See, this week, then I think the week after that, I think maybe around let's see, the calendar's right. It's right about the 8th and the 10th, I believe. The 10th and the 11th. Yeah. And then we'll have a thing about that once we get all the we'll probably be like that week before we get all when they put in all the names and who's going to be competing in that show. And then we'll talk about the competitors and we'll make our predictions and we're hoping because it takes forever for them to put out the list. It's and as the remaining show was kind of it was almost a small show, very very small show. Still was a small show with only 8 ladies. But the thing is, when we have certain shows in certain countries, a lot of competitors don't want to do extra travel. It's harder for them just to travel from one side of America to another side of America. Then you try to cross borders and cross oceans.
Yeah.
Hmm. And one's also is like one thing. There's a lot of female bodybuilders who live around our other side of the border. That's around Brazil, South America. Well, let's see more of them compete. Is if they if one thing once everything settles down, as you know, recently the government said they're trying to drop the restrictions where it makes it more easier for a lot of people to come to the country than it was before. But it's still gonna take some time.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm going to see the James Bond film.
Ooh, the last Daniel Craig's last one.
I believe so.
Yeah, they talk about trying to get female bond. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can take there's other movies you can take and spin into a series, but it's just you. This is saying, and people go. I'm gonna get hate for this. Bond has always been a white male of the British Commonwealth. It's better to keep him like that. I mean, it's if you want to create your own kind of female spy, you can take movies like Salt, and make sequels from that. There's a Charlize Theron's character, Atomic Blonde. You can spin a series off of that if you want. But you just take something that's been established for how long it has been around. James Bond has been around for practically a little over 60 years.
Yeah, it was based off a World War II operation where they took a dead British guy who had recently died, dropped him off the coast with fake forget what it is, some kind of decoding machine or something. And the Germans got it and thought, well, okay, well, this is obviously something we can use, not realizing it's,
It was set up. Yeah.
It was all set up.
Yeah.
It was like a perfect operation. You can look all about that. It's about the whole, I think that was the Ultra operation that went on.
Yeah, and MI6 is a real organization. It does exist.
Yeah, that's the British.
That's the British version of the CIA. I'm not supposed to say. So anyway, I thank y'all folks coming through. My man Marcus Bell for dropping that like. My man KL ain't no angel. Check out KL. He's on YouTube. He creates great videos. He supports female bodybuilding. He's a fan. He supports me. I support him. I like to get to his level. I would love to get to this level where I can make videos and stuff like he does. But I just got a laptop and a phone. So maybe someday when I get some little extra funds, I might get some editing work. I get to the level. So anyway, to all you folks, we appreciate your time. This is your man, always George Page, aka Emperor of Bodybuilding Talk. Right here on my right hand is the hand of the Emperor, Jared.
Yo, peace everybody.
Also,
enjoy your Thanksgiving. And
yes, you too.
Also, congratulations on your birthday.
Appreciate it. And I got 600 subscribers.
Very nice.
And I appreciate you
also, for you. Oh, I forgot to mention, today marks the 58th anniversary of JFK's assassination.
Wow. Yeah, that was, people say like this, where this country could have been if he lived just a little bit longer. How much I feel like we live in a lot better country than we are today if he lived a little bit longer. Him and Martin Luther King and several other people were assassinated, But God bless him and his family. And he was not the perfect man, but he was a good president. But anyway, I'd like to thank y'all for coming through and watch and listen to us in our Muscle Talk Mondays, episode number 61. Like, comment, subscribe. If you are a fan of female bodybuilders, just bodybuilders in general, support their commitment and their passion for this sport. They deserve every little bit of it. Anyway, this is me, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Don't like, subscribe. We're out.